We are in the building and we are live. What up? What up, y'all? It's your man SamAnt here at Viral Hip Hop News, and we got a good one. I've been telling you about this. If you've been watching my videos the last few weeks and you've seen the advertisement in the front of that video, you've seen none other than my bro Micheal Ameer Williams, also known as the Black Trump Supporter, promoting his book, The Black Trump Supporter, and his website, michealameerofficial.com. Got a lot of comments in the comment section regarding this brother. And now you guys can bring your questions to him live because he is here and we are going to have a good time. Hey, y'all know how we do. While we get going, while we're warming up the crowd, while we're getting everything rolling, let me know where you're listening. Let me know where you're watching from. Drop them area codes in the chat right now. Very excited for you guys to engage in the conversation. Let me know what you're thinking about. Let me know how you're enjoying the conversation. Of course, let me know where you're rocking from. We're going to bring Micheal Ameer on in just a few moments. Like I said, I wanted to get the crowd warmed up, get some people in the building before we bring the good brother on and heard his story. I'm very excited to hear about his story. And if you have not seen his commercial yet, allow me to play it right now because he is our official sponsor. So let's hear a word from that sponsor.
The Black Trump Supporter, The Reawakening of a Nation by Micheal Ameer. Meet Micheal Ameer, a Gulf War veteran, black conservative, and fearless truth-teller. In The Black Trump Supporter, he dares to question what others blindly follow. A powerful memoir that challenges race politics, media myths, and cultural silence. This isn't just a book, it's a movement.
And we're going to bring on none other than Micheal Ameer himself. Let me go ahead and get this. I want this looking a little better. Matter of fact, I like how that looks. I like that. All right, Micheal, how you feeling, brother? Good to have you on the platform. How you doing?
What's good, Sam? How you doing? Appreciate it. Definitely feels good. I'm doing good. And just working on the promotion of the book, a few other things. But yeah, man, doing good. Doing pretty good.
Good. It's good to have you on. It's good to hear that you're doing well. We've been politicking and talking for a couple months now. Got the opportunity to promote your book and definitely feel honored to do so. Anytime I get an entrepreneur that reaches out to me and is interested in promoting their brand on my platform, I'm honored. I take it as a serious duty because independent entrepreneurs it's not easy. It's not an easy profession to get into. It's not easy to do. So if you go ahead and you reach out to me, I'm definitely going to show my support. I had a lot of people upset at me like, yo, well, you got this brother on here because this brother is doing he is practicing his truth, and I can't wait to talk to you about it, man. So I just wanted to get that out the way and share my thanks and sincere thanks to you while we have you on. And I guess to get started, just let the people know a little bit about yourself. I know you're currently in Germany, but I'm sure there was a lot of steps to get to that point. So just talk about your upbringing, growing up, how you were kind of introduced to politics, the world as we know it. Just kind of give us a little bit about yourself, brother, if you don't mind.
Okay. From Camden, New Jersey, born and raised, went to Camden High School. I came in the Army. I was already like 17, so we did what you call the split option, where after your junior year of high school, you go to basic training. You come back, you do your senior year, but you go to your reserve drills. And so after that, after you graduate, then you go to your advanced training. So I was dealing with the military when I was 17. So my mother had to sign, to get me in. And then also when I was going to school, I was an avid tennis player. So I got a partial tennis scholarship to go to Rutgers University and also Methodist College University in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So me and my partner was like, hey, look, we're from Jersey, so let's get out of Jersey. Let's go to North Carolina. So I went down to North Carolina for 1 year, played tennis, played basketball, did ROTC with the military school training. We was out there on Fort Bragg, and dropped out after that first year because it was a partial scholarship, so you still had to pay a lot.
Right.
So, family didn't have that kind of money. Right. So dropped out, came on active duty in the Army, came to Germany, and I got into entertainment. I played tennis for the Army. I was also a combat medic. And then I started It was me and a Muslim brother named Harris. It's one of the stories that's in the book, how we kind of met on post and we kind of started having like a lot of the brothers getting together. Basically, it was more Black history. So I got into Black history, which kind of led me to the politics. One of the first books I got into, it was the similarities between Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and how the government dealt with both of them.
Yeah.
And that led me to politics a little bit later on. But first I got into a lot of Black history. So me and my boy Harris, we started like a little Black history thing on post, and we started getting all the brothers together. We started trading books. I mean, we had Christians, we had Muslims, we had Masons, we had everybody, and it was just a real good vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Because people started looking and everybody started looking for more knowledge. Then you seen the brothers start greeting each other, and it was just a real good vibe that was started. But a few of the white guys on post, they got a little bit heated, and it was like, yo, you know, Mike trying to take over the Black guys trying to take over post, you know. And back then, you know what I'm saying, I was just a sergeant. You know what I'm saying? As a sergeant, you ain't taking over nothing.
Right.
It was just us trying to get together and pulling the brothers together. And, you know, it was a positive thing. And my boy Harris, he was a Muslim, so he was really deep into Louis Farrakhan. And so, of course, a lot of the brothers was kind of hypnotized with that kind of speaking, you know, because Louis Farrakhan was like one of the, I guess, I mean, I got something on him in the book also. I mean, I didn't agree with him with everything, but of course, he was a dynamic speaker. And of course, a lot of people gravitated towards him, you know.
Yeah.
And so my boy Harris was kind of in that vein, you know. So he captivated a lot of people. We came together, brought a lot of brothers together. But then some of the guys got kind of scared, and they was like, yo, you know, the Black guys trying to take over post, you know. And so we had a couple of white guys come in, and they sat in on the meeting, and they was like, seemed pretty cool. They talking about history, and we're talking about how the brothers need to get educated and pull themselves together. So it wasn't nothing radical.
Right.
But it got up to the commander, and then the commander was like, well, you know, y'all can't have no more of these meetings on post. And I'm like, what you talking about? You know, because at that time, all over Europe, there were different Black history committees. And I was like, you know, talking to our sergeant major, like, okay, we need to fill out the paperwork and, you know, how to do it, blah, blah, blah. You know, we were trying to start it, how you say it, going through the proper channels. But before we can do that, they kind of cut us off at the knees and was like, oh, y'all can't do that no more on post. So I was pretty like, kind of radical, like, no, y'all not gonna stop me from doing it. So I invited everybody over my crib. So I was like, hey, look, they can't tell me who I can have over my house. So then we had the brothers come over my house and we had the meetings. Long story short, they sent my Black ass to Iraq after that, you know what I'm saying? And so the crazy part is I'm in Iraq. We got Scud missiles going off, right? And who I see walk up but my boy Harris, and we just start laughing. I'm like, bro, they got you too, huh? So yeah, that was crazy, man. So yeah, that was funny because we were trying to start a Black History Committee, you know, the proper way, but then, you know, a lot of people got scared and started whispering and they didn't understand it. But even the white guys that we had come in, you know, and sit in on the meeting, they were like, man, it's cool. We don't see no problem with it.
Right.
But of course, the higher ups, they saw a problem with it. So, you know, but, you know, that was what happened in my early Army career. But luckily, you know, the war didn't last too long. We made it back safe and got into the music business and had a few hit records in Europe and stuff like that. And all that time, I was my private time, I was doing, you know, a lot of politics. I was following politics. Maybe since about late 90s, early 2000s, I started really getting deep into American politics. Even though I was here in Germany, I was in the United States Army,
right.
And also I worked for the government. I worked for DOD. I worked for the Army. I worked for the Air Force. So I always worked for the American government, still kept my American passport, still voting in the States. So I always was following what was going on. And about 2000 is when I kind of started looking away from the Democrat Party because, I was, I grew up in the hood. So, of course, if you're Black, you vote Democrat.
Right. Yeah. Especially in Camden. I didn't want to cut you off, brother. When you said Camden, I'm from South Jersey. Don't know if you know that. So I'm right up the street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm from Atlantic County, brother. So when you said Camden, I'm like, damn, bro, we must be neighbors, man. You family for real. So
okay.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So you were in the Persian Gulf War.
That's where I'm from, man.
That's what's up. That Jersey all day. I love that. So when you went to the war, it was, I believe, George Bush Sr. during that time, and then you said around the 2000s, around the time that was about the time Clinton was getting out and Al Gore was running, and then George Bush Jr. or the third, I think Jr. was starting to run, and that's when you started kind of getting into politics. They were starting. I remember that time. I was a junior in high school. They were really talking about global warming. I know the Democrats really pushing that, and then a lot of people were upset and felt like George Bush Jr. at the time kind of messed with the election, so to speak. But what was, you said that was your introduction really into politics. So what was your thinking like? Like, what was your thoughts on Gore? What was your thoughts on Bush? And what kind of shifted your mindset from the typical Democrat ideology that Black people grow accustomed to? Like you said, I grew up under the same tutelage and under the same umbrella that is Black, you're Democrat. What was the shift and the change during that time to make you go, okay, nah, this ain't for us. This ain't really what it's painting it out to be. Let me go and see what the other side looks like.
Well, what really made me start looking at it is the way the Democrats started attacking Bush and the family. I mean, it was just real vicious, where it just got my attention, and I started looking at the difference of how the media treated the Democrats and how the media treated Republicans. And then I started asking myself, why are you a Democrat? And you once you start asking yourself those serious questions, you start getting, well, I do it because everybody else do it. But that's not an intelligent answer, bro. You don't jump off the bridge because everybody else do it.
Right.
And then you start thinking of, okay, what policies do these people have? What policies do they have? And then I started looking up, history and stuff like that. And then I just started learning like a lot of things that I think we probably either we don't know or we overlook in the Black community. Like the Ku Klux Klan was started by the Democrats. Trying to keep slavery was the Democrats. Jim Crow laws was pushed by the Democrats. Everything that you can think of from slavery to, like, say, the 1957 Civil Rights Act, when it was filibustered by the Democrats. All of the bad things that happened to the Black people from slavery up till the Civil Rights Movement, it was pushed by the Democrats. And see, I didn't know that, because what they were always telling you is, the bad things were done to the Black people by the white people. But what they don't tell you is you can replace white people with Democrats. The Democrats were the ones that was pushing all of these negative things against the Black people. And growing up in the hood, they don't tell you that part. And so then you end up supporting the Democrats. And, I tell people, it's like, if the Democrats would have had their way with the civil rights, right, with the Civil War, I said, we would be slaves today. I said, the Republican Party was formed as an abolitionist party against the Democrats for the freedom of the Blacks. And I said, if you look at it, they've been fighting for the freedom of the Blacks since the Civil War, since the 1850s, the 1860s. And I'm like, they look at me, like I'm crazy, like, oh man, how can you support the Republicans? And I'm like, well, how can you support the Democrats? They don't want to keep your ass a slave.
Right.
know? And I'm like, I said, go through history and look at from Jim Crow to the Ku Klux Klan to the poll tax to segregation, all this stuff were pushed on black people by Democrats. And it's just that they came out with the propaganda to try to turn that around and then say, hey, look, there was a switch, And basically, once the civil rights came in the 50s and 60s, then basically you couldn't stop the blacks from gaining political power. So blacks gained political power. So then they had to change their tactic. We can't keep the blacks down. So, let's co-opt them. And what did LBJ say? He said, we got to give them enough to quiet them down, but not enough to make a difference. Yeah. And that's like welfare. It's like, we're going to give y'all something to make y'all feel like we're doing something for you, but you're not going to be able to get ahead. Welfare is not going to make you rich.
Right.
And these are the things that they gave to black people. Even now, they're giving you symbolism. You can take a knee or a hashtag, or we got a BLM, or we got this, or we got that, but they're not going to give you anything. Like, you got people out there right now waiting for reparations. I said, bro, you're going to be a skeleton. You're going to still be waiting. Because once they give you reparations, you probably ain't going back. You're going to start learning. You're going to start maybe learning business. You're going to start becoming independent, and you're not going to need them anymore.
Right.
I said, bro, they not giving you no reparations. Y'all gonna wait till y'all wither away in dust, bro, because they have the money. I mean, look at what Doge has been finding.
Right.
Hundreds of billions of dollars given away to see transgender ants in Guatemala and shit.
Yeah.
But they won't give black people no reparations, bro. Look at all of the silly shit that they give money away for. But they won't give it to black people for reparations. They dangle it out there. They talk about it. And, at first I was like, well, I really don't care about reparations because you're talking about people who weren't slave owners giving money to people who weren't slaves. But on the other hand, our government gives money to everybody else.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And, they were like, oh, man, we still fight for reparations. I said, the illegals come over, they ain't got to fight for reparations. They get money for their family right off the bat, right off the rip. But we still fighting for it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody comes to the United States and get money. The United States gives money. I mean, we got hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. And then when you say something to Zelensky, he can't even tell you where the money went.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's ridiculous. And I'm like, like I said, for me, reparations either way. But what I'm saying is, I don't mind reparations because y'all giving money to everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody that come to the United States can get money, but they won't give it to the black people.
Now, let me ask you this, because I'm honestly, like, I could not debate with you when it comes to politics. I could not go back and forth because I'm not into it. I'm not savvy enough to sit back and go back and forth with somebody who's into politics. I would never even attempt to do that because I know where I'm at when it comes to it. I don't follow a Republican side. I don't follow a Democratic side. I kind of box it into all one big conglomerate of bullshit. That's just me. But somebody that thinks like I do, tell me why being Republican helps you as a black man more than a Democrat. I mean, you just highlighted why Democrats aren't for blacks, and you're 100% correct. We talked about that millions of times, not only on this platform, but on our podcast, with my cousin and I, and various other platforms. But why is Republicans, in your opinion, so much better, if it is any better? Why choose Republican over Democrat? Do you feel as though you just have to follow one of the public line or one of the political lines because, hey, we're in America, it is either or do you believe that Republicans actually have black people's best interest at heart in 2025?
I wouldn't say it's just for black people. I would just say, if you look back, like I said, back in the 1800s, the Republican Party was the abolitionist party to get rid of slavery. So right there, they started off for, the black people, and the Democrats were never for the black people. If you just look at the basic platform that they have now, I mean, okay, perfect example of what's going on right now in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
If you talk to people in Washington, D.C., they are happy that the president is saying, we're going to come in and we're going to bring the National Guard and we're going to stop the crime. Now you have most of the Democrats saying, oh no, that's authoritarian and you don't need to bring them in. But these are the political people. These are the people that make the platforms. When you go into DC and you talk to the real people that live there, the old people, the elderly, they can't walk the streets. You got 20, 30 kids getting shot. You know, they're doing press conference with all these kids that are getting shot. And what they were doing was they were manipulating the crime statistics. So, and this is why they were saying, you know, well, crime is going down. Okay, but then y'all still say homicides are going up. So if my daughter and my son, because you got some people, they got 2 or 3 people in their family that's done been shot and killed. Yeah. And so you going in the hood telling people, oh, well, you know, the statistics are saying crime is down when, you know, your boy just got shot over here last night. 3-year-old kid just got shot. 5-year-old kid just got shot. But you're coming on TV telling, oh, crime is down. And these are the type of things that Democrats do to the communities. This is why they get no better. Because they let these type of things happen. You just look at their policies. Like right now, if you're a teenager in DC, you can kill a person and you're probably not going to jail, bro, because you're a kid. And they have these laws for the teenagers, and you know how it is. You know, the gangsters are sending the young kids out to do a lot of these things because they know they're not going to do no time. And so what you're getting? You're getting very bad communities on these policies, like you have these George Soros DAs that are in most major cities. If you talk about Chicago, you talk about LA, you talk about Camden, most of these liberal cities, then they have liberal policies that actually help the criminals. So what are you going to have if you have criminals that are not really getting prosecuted for their crimes? You got more criminals on the street, and now you got more brazen criminals because they know I can get away with it.
Yeah.
But see, this don't happen in Beverly Hills. This don't happen in those rich neighborhoods. It happens in the hood.
I would just say this. I wish that it was because people should be able to walk the street safely. Children should be able to go to school without worrying about a random bullet hurting them and putting them and changing a family's life because their child is no longer there from just simply going to school. People should be able to live in peace, and that's all people. But from what I see a little bit, and I've been in DC, I'm in DC all the time. In fact, I was in DC a couple of days ago, and from what I'm seeing from the people is there's a little bit of a nervousness because there's really no communication between law enforcement and the people in the community who want to see these changes and are being mistaken for people that are out here causing chaos simply because they have the same skin tone as people that are out here causing chaos. So in your opinion, what could we do? Being a former military vet, somebody's from the inner city. Camden is one of the hoodest areas in America. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. So you know, what do you think could be done to remedy the relationship between law enforcement and the people in the community so that they could not only feel safe from the police protecting them, but feel safe that the police aren't going to go out here and knock them off because they're assuming that there's somebody out here committing crimes?
Yeah, I think you have to do I think more outreach to the community with the police, or having people that are police from that community. And so there's more of a rapport, but you also need a lot more policing, but you also need you need to take the criminals off the streets. This is the biggest thing. It's like, if I'm out here shooting, killing, murdering, and nothing's happened to me, that's giving me a green light to keep doing it.
Right.
And now when, you know, my mother or my grandmother walks down the street, they don't feel safe. And this is why I've seen a lot of people on social media, they're happy with what Trump's doing, but The politicians are not, because for them, the politicians is about power. For the real people, it's about security. It's like, dude, I'm tired. We can't go nowhere without somebody getting shot. And now, since the National Guard was there, people are making videos about, oh man, it's so nice to be able to walk down the street. And see, the thing is, would you rather have the people be able to walk down the street, or would you rather have the chaos that is going on down there? That's been going on down there for years. I mean, people are scared to walk the streets. Like a lot of people said, you can't walk the streets in DC after 9, 10 o'clock at night. There's a lot of people that are scared. You got senators and congressmen that's been robbed and beat up in DC. So they know DC is not a nice place. And also, I forgot her name, but it was a Black female. She was saying that when she was reporting violent crime, the superiors were downgraded. So this is how they got the the crime is going down scenario. It's just that they started playing with the numbers just like the FBI did, you know. And I mean, that's in a lot of businesses, you know. It's like, okay, the numbers ain't right. If I got control of the numbers, okay, let's jiggle it. Hey, say let's jiggle the numbers right here, you know, so we can get the outcome we want. And one thing that I looked at that was amazing is like, you're telling me one of the most violent cities in America, you're saying crime is going down, but you just keep saying crime is going down. Okay, tell me how. What did you do to make crime go down? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be more policing. It's going to be harsher sentences. It's going to be overtime, or it's going to be bringing in the National Guard. In order to bring down the crime, you have to actually do something. And you notice with DC and the politicians, they never ever tell you what they do. It's just a talking point. Oh, crime is down. So, you know, basically, y'all need to shut up because crime is down. Okay, tell me how you brought the crime down. Did you just change some statistics? I mean, but you know, people have been doing that type of stuff for a while. I mean, the FBI was doing it. You know, they stopped. The FBI stopped going after child predators and pedophiles, and then they started saying, "Oh, the biggest threat to America is white supremacists." So they started bringing that lie out. And the same thing, they just started changing the numbers around to start getting more money and bonuses. Basically, it's the same thing that they're doing in DC. They're telling the people crime is, I said, the percentage of crime is down, but they're not telling you how they did it because they didn't do nothing different than besides how they recorded paperwork.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you this, because obviously you got a book. It's titled The Black Trump Supporter. President Trump went and started, what did he 2012 is when he first ran? 2013, 14, when was it?
He started in 2015.
15, right? Okay.
And then he won the election in 2016. Yeah.
Right. One of the most polarizing presidential candidates, if not the most polarizing presidential candidate we've ever had. A president that has drawn lines like no other president, especially amongst the Black community, right? Because it's one side that says you're sleep and you're a sheep if you don't support Trump, and there's another side that says you're Uncle Tom, you're a coon, and you're absolutely clueless if you do support Trump. I'm kind of like, I'm in a gray area where I don't support, I don't condemn, I kind of just watch. I kind of just pay attention. I'm watching. I don't hate Trump, and I've gotten a lot of criticism for saying that on my platform, but I've also openly said I don't love him either, right? What was it about him, and what was it about how he ran and what he's currently doing to make you want to say, I'm a Black Trump supporter? Because we never heard I'm a Bush supporter. We never heard it hasn't never been this strong of a force for a presidential candidate, even Obama, the way it is for Donald Trump. So what made you create the book, The Black Trump Supporter, and why was it so important for you to draw your line in the sand to say, I'm not only a Trump supporter, but a Black Trump supporter?
Well, I think what made me draw the line was the way he stood up to the media and the way he stood up to the left. And one of the reasons, because I told a lot of people, because, you know, of course, you got a lot of Trump haters, and I debate and I talk with them all the time. And I was trying to tell them that you should try to understand what's going on. That's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. Just, you just come out with a whole lot of venom, and you have very little space for trying to understand what's going on. And I said, for one, the Republicans always get rolled. I don't care. For me, the Republicans will have a great platform and they'll get rolled. They'll bend over backwards, bend the knee, they'll get crushed by the Democrats. Finally, you had somebody like Trump that would stand up to them and fight them, for policies that you like or policies that you would agree with. And, I was telling a lot of people, I was like, man, y'all don't understand. People are gravitating them, especially on the conservative side, because the man talks common sense. He talks straight. He don't care what you think about it, because what they do is they'll guilt trip you. Oh man, you like Trump, you must be crazy, or your Uncle Thomas. It's like, nah, bro, I got my own brain. I said I can think. I got common sense. And wanting to close the border, that's common sense. Having what do you call it? Being energy independent, so the economy's good, that helps everybody. That's common sense. You have blacks in a lot of failing schools, and you have school choice. That's common sense. Why do we keep our black kids in failing schools? But this is what the Democrats fight for. It's like you had the Baltimore project, where almost no kids in the city read or did arithmetic at grade level. You're trapping them in failing schools. But then when you have somebody like Trump say, okay, let's do a school voucher. So if your kid is not doing good in school, you don't think this is a good school for your kid, you can send them somewhere else. But no, the liberal policy is, let's keep them trapped in these schools where they're coming out, they're not learning anything. They're not being able to go out and compete for a lot of these technical jobs. So then they say, okay, we need H-1B visas. We need these technical visas for the Asians and the Indians to come over here, because our kids are not qualified for it, because our public schools are trash. And now it's like, okay, let's keep these kids in there. Then we'll call Trump racist. Like, no. You guys are running the schools and our kids can't read. It's not Trump's fault. Trump just started getting into politics in 2016. Our schools have been, the standards of our schools and what our kids have been learning been going down for a long time. And when the conservatives come up and say, well, why don't you give the kids school choice? Because a lot of some of the private schools and some of the charter schools are getting better results. No, we can't do that, because the school is not about teaching the kids, it's about the teachers and the teachers union making money. And so now, the funny part is, as we were coming up, but our ancestors were coming up as slaves, we weren't allowed to learn how to read and write. Now in 2025, you got kids that are graduating school that still can't read and write. That's to me, that's ridiculous. And these are the different policies that are pushed by the liberals. And then they'll tell you, if you don't agree with us, then you're racist, you're Uncle Tom, you're a white supremacist, Trump supporter, and they call you all these names, but they still can't debate the facts with you.
Right. What I would say is, because watching both, right, and I wasn't looking at this past election and looking at the Republican representation in Donald Trump and the Democratic nomination in Kamala Harris. There's obviously a divide because they wanted to do the black woman versus white men argument, things like that. And I wasn't for it. I wasn't for any of that at all. But I will say, once Trump got into office in his second term, there were things done that kind of made me start to look at him a little different. And one of those things, I'm not going to lie to you, is this whole Epstein file situation that continues to get a lot of conversation. It's still definitely something prevalent that I think about, because on one side, it was like, okay, we're going to expose these files. We're going to expose the people involved. And it's like, we need to see people that were involved in taking advantage of children. And then all of a sudden it was brushed under the rug, and it got a lot of criticism from in Republican side as well. Well, what's your thoughts on that? Because if it's one thing about this current run that he's in, is something that I can't get over, it's that. So what's your thoughts on that?
I've been following this, as you know, I've been following this for a long time.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't realize is Trump was having a lot of pushback from the government. Even with Republicans, it was people who were fighting against Trump. Like I posted on social media, it was a letter from Pam Bondi in February, right?
Okay.
She couldn't get all of the Epstein files. And she's like, what's going on? They sent me 200 pages. Is this it? So she wrote she wrote Cash Patel, like, what's going on? Basically, I'm the attorney general. I'm asking for these Epstein records and they're not giving it to her. So she got a whistleblower that says, look, there's thousands of Epstein records and they're hiding them. They're not giving them to you. And so this has been since Trump's 2016 run. You have a lot of factions inside the government that's against them, and they weren't giving them the records. And I made this, I told a few people about this because, see, the whole Epstein file thing, they're not taking into account that there was a fight over the Epstein files. Most people are not taking that into account. And I'm like, dude, they gave you 200 records because it's an entrenched section of the FBI that's definitely against Trump and his whole administration. So they weren't trying to give you the records. So Pam Bondi's like, okay, y'all give me 200. Is this 200 pages? Is this it? And so a whistleblower said, no, it's thousands of pages. And so basically, I think what they did, they made a promise to the people like, okay, we're in charge of the government now. We're going to get the records and we're going to give them to you. They get in and find out the FBI like, we're not giving you shit, or we're going to give you what we want to give you. And see, this whole fight over the records, I think the administration didn't really talk to the people. That the people thought that, oh, they just don't want to show the Epstein files because, I told one of my partners, I said, bro, Epstein been dead for 6 years, man. Ghislaine Maxwell, she's in jail. Epstein been dead for 6 years. And then with all of the Democrats, oh, now we want the Epstein files. I said, y'all just a political opportunists. I said, because we've been following Epstein. We've been following all of the pedophilia stuff way back in 2016 when the FBI was taken off of pedophilia and put onto white supremacy. We've been following this since back then. And so for the MAGA people, everybody was really focused in on the Epstein thing because it was part of a bigger story. And then all the Democrats were like, oh, we want to see the Epstein files. I'm like, why? I said, Joe Biden been sitting on them files for 4 years. You guys had those files for 4 years and you did nothing. All of a sudden, now you think you can use a political movement against Trump. Now you're interested in the files only because you can use it against Trump. But when you had the files, y'all didn't give a shit about the files. Y'all had them. Y'all had control of them. Your FBI that you had control of, not one time did y'all care about the Epstein files. Only time they cared about the Epstein files is when the MAGA people got upset. And I think they just didn't explain it to the people because, all of the evidence that we know from the lawyers from the prosecution side, the lawyers from the defense side said, okay, yeah, Trump is in the files, but not doing anything illegal because Epstein was poaching girls from Mar-a-Lago. And that's why Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. So him and Epstein had I think it was the early 2000s, they had an adversarial relationship. Trump outbid him for property in Florida, and Epstein was pissed over that. And then Epstein was hitting on these young girls at Mar-a-Lago. Trump kicked him out. And so I'm like, dude, he gave information to help get Jeffrey Epstein locked up the first time. His DOJ locked up Jeffrey Epstein the second time.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
It just feels as though to me, and like I said, I'm not into politics. I don't play either side. But when you tell me that there's files of people, high profile people that were molesting and abusing children, I don't give a damn if Donald Trump was on there, Obama, George Clooney, and I'm just throwing out names. It doesn't matter from what era, if I'm popular, Democrat or Republican. as people and as human beings, I would think that we would want that out. And I think there's too much political volleyball going back and forth about who wants it out, who doesn't want it out. We just deserve to know who was on it, because those people need to be, we talking about pedophiles and all this stuff all the time. Well, if those people were doing shit to babies, they need to be outed, no matter what political side you play.
But the thing is, I think it's a lot of things that people are ascribing to that whole situation, and they don't really know. Like if you look at watch some of the interviews from Alan Dershowitz, which he was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, and he's telling you it's certain people that were connected, but the case pretty much involved Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. It's a lot of people that were kind of connected to it, but not as far as the kids. That's why there weren't. Well, what Alan Dershowitz was saying, there's not going to be a lot of names that come out that people are like, oh, that's some big politician that did something to the kids. So basically, people are hyping up the situation to be more than it is, because I was like, well, if you really care about what happened to kids, under Joe Biden, there's probably like 500,000 kids that are missing that are being trafficked. We got having that open border was one of the biggest in-your-face child sex trafficking operations that were going on. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Hundreds of thousands of kids that are missing, that are coming across the border, and the people that are picking them up, they're not checking them. I'm like, and nobody see, and then they're worried about Epstein, but I'm like, well, how come you're not worried about the hundreds of thousands of kids that are missing? I think when Biden left office, there's somewhere close to 500,000 kids that are missing, and Trump is going out and they're going and finding some of these kids because they were looking for some of them. You had some people that were going out looking for some of these kids, and guess what? It's like, okay, who's the sponsor that picked up this kid? Okay, here's the address. They go and they find an empty parking lot. You have a lot of people that are picking up these kids that are not verified. They're not family. You don't know who they're traffickers. And this is going on right in everybody's face.
It's still going on right now. It's still going on right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, we had that movie, The Sound of Freedom, which again was about a CIA, I think it was a CIA agent going undercover to find some trafficked kids. I think it was one female. Mm-hmm. And you should see the media and the government try to block this film. And I'm like, why are you trying to block a film about child trafficking? It's because they're complicit. They don't want the people to wake up to what's going on. Like, why are all these kids that are coming across the border, why are they missing? And that's what I told some of my partners, like, okay, y'all care about child trafficking only when it comes to Epstein?
No, there was
we've been following this. This was one of the big.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm saying this was one of the things in 2016 that we were like, okay, this is so much of the child trafficking was going on, and we liked the programs that Trump had that were going after the child trafficking. And then when that movie came out, to see all of the theaters start to block it, and you see the government and all of these people start to try to block a movie about child trafficking, child sex trafficking, because it's really big. And like I said, they're doing it right in front of our face. And the sponsors are not being vetted. You don't know who you're giving these kids to. And this is another reason that people are like, we need to shut down the border, because they're using the border to traffic right in our face. Right in our face. It's crazy. And then nobody talks about it.
Definitely appreciate it. We can go on for hours about this. And I definitely appreciate you. Like I said, when you come on for an artist spotlight, and I've been saying this these last 2 weeks, I've been promoting your commercial, The Black Trump Supporter. Whether we agree or not, as an independent Black entrepreneur doing your thing, I salute you and I appreciate you. And I'm definitely willing to listen to even things that I may not understand all the way or things I may not necessarily agree with. I definitely appreciate and want to open my platform up to all discussions because I think all of them are important. We need different perspectives from all sides. Not all Black are dressed and walk and move the same way. And I don't think people should be demonized because they think differently or we may disagree. I didn't agree with a lot of what you said in these last 30 minutes, but at the same time, I appreciate and able to listen without a biased ear and appreciate and learn something from a different perspective. And I salute you for that, brother. Definitely. And I appreciate your time for it.
That's what it's about, man. Appreciate you.
Nah, absolutely. Real quick, before we get up out of here, let the people know where they can follow you. Let the people know where they can purchase your book if they're interested. Let the people know how they can get more information from yourself, brother Micheal Ameer.
Right now, we have a nice website we built up, MichealAmeerOfficial.com. You have links to some of the articles I used to write on called The Populist Wire. You can also get the book on Amazon and other major platforms. So yeah, you can look at me like I'm on Twitter as Dirty World. So that's just because Twitter is where I do just mostly politics. It's just politics. Like I did a lot of entertainment, so I still do entertainment things. I still do parties and shows and stuff like that. But yeah, the Twitter is strictly politics, and MichealAmeerOfficial.com. You can go on there and find out a lot about me, some of my history, and also there are links to buy the book, and also the other articles. And also, Sam, I want to give you guys a big shout out because I always seen that you guys were open-minded to both sides, and that's what had me watching you guys, because you seem to have a fair viewpoint.
For sure, because and I appreciate that. We don't know it all. We don't play political sides, and we don't try to steer narratives. We try to give Black people information that we feel as though they need. You know what I mean? That's why I think it was important, whether people agree with you or not, to bring you on here, because you are a Black man, you have a voice, and you have every right to express that voice. And that's very important. And I'm always going to stick to that, always going to remain true to that. And that's what we do. And I salute you for not only investing in me, but sharing your time and your space with me, man. And we could definitely do it again. I appreciate you, brother. Do me a favor. I'm going to go ahead and close this out, but stick around because I'm going to talk to you behind the scenes real quick to close it out, man. But I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you're doing. Go support the brother, Micheal Ameer Williams, MichealAmeerOfficial.com, the Black Trump supporter. You can find that book on Amazon. What else you got? It's on Amazon. It's on, help me out.
It's on Amazon.com, Amazon.de. It's on Kindle. It's on Kobo. It's on Lulu. We're trying to, right now we're still working, trying to get it on Barnes & Noble. Hopefully it's going to be there soon, but it's on most of the major platforms.
Dope. Hey, support the brother, man. He out here doing big things, man, writing books, telling his truth, man. We appreciate it. Micheal Ameer, I appreciate your time, brother. You take care. I'm going to close this out, and then I'll be right back with you, man. Have a good one.
All right.
Yes, sir. Peace out. Another artist spotlight in the books. I appreciate all of you guys who engaged in the chat. Let me give you guys some love real quick right now. I don't know if you're still in the building, but I want to give you some love. Red Blue, James Hudson, Jennifer, who was definitely engaged in the chat. I appreciate you so much. DMV, stand up. Dawn Harden engaged in the chat. Thank you so much, Dawn Harden. King Z, thank you so much for engaging with the people. Thank you so much for listening and providing your input in regards to the conversation in the chat. This is definitely a polarizing situation. You're either going to heavily agree or heavily disagree. There's always a lot of emotion involved. That's why I know from my standpoint, there's zero emotion. So I can allow the brother to speak and tell his truth without getting all crazy and start wanting to do this or that, because information needs to be provided and we need to come at it with a level head so that we can hear and understand. And once you hear and understand, you can go ahead and base your opinion based off of what you heard and what you gathered. But we have to give everybody a fair shot to be able to tell their side on an open platform. And I hope we're able to do that to the best of our abilities. And if you're interested in being a guest on Artist Spotlight, if you want to promote your brand with Viral Hip Hop News, email me. You see the email below. It's been scrolling across the screen throughout this video. If you happen to catch this video on the back end, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And most importantly, support Micheal Ameer, MichealAmeerOfficial.com. whether you agree with him or not. Like I said, that brother took his time, took his money, invested in this platform, and I sincerely appreciate him for that, and always will. And if he ever wanted to come back, if he ever wanted a space to tell his truth, to tell his side, he will have it here on Viral Hip Hop News. And so will you. Hit me up, dlsmediainc1@gmail.com. I'm out of here. Got to go hit a barbecue up real quick. Me and my son gonna go grab us some grub. And yeah, that's all I got. Love each and every one of y'all. Most importantly, love yourselves and love yours. And we out. Peace.